Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, welcome to another episode of Geek Smack Live, the show where we smack the geek out of you, the little vlog section, VLOG. That's V-U-V, yeah, V-L-O-G. For those of you who know sign language, we're on the vlog section, the kind of the pre-show, talking about what the show's going to talk about, and then, of course, what's going on with me. Make life easy. You watch this up on youtube.com/Geekazine, and then you can watch the actual show. You can watch the actual show on Geekazine. Won't have this first 10-15 minutes on here. But, you know, how you guys doing? Are you having a great day? Are you having a great time? I'm having a fun little week so far. Last week, of course, we didn't have a show last week because I was in Tucson, Arizona. I was at what's called Techonomy 2013, and of course, we'll put the badge. Got the badge right here. We'll put the badge up onto the Hall of Badges, which I got to move now that I'm sitting down. I should probably move the Hall of Badges over here instead of up there. But anyway, at any rate, we got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about YouTube and Google Plus getting the interweave and how people are complaining about it. I've kind of adopted it, and it's been a very interesting situation. There's reasons why I'm adopting it now as opposed to later, and hopefully those reasons will be the reasons why you adopt it now instead of later. All right, as I talked about on the show on This Week in Google Glass last night, I'm still using Wirecast. A couple weeks ago, Wirecast upgraded to Wirecast 5. Mac updated to Mavericks, and I had a program that I needed to update Mavericks to, but Wirecast, unfortunately, doesn't like Mavericks. So I can't downgrade because I need the other program more than I need Wirecast, but I need Wirecast too. What's a person to do? Well, what I did was I actually loaded up an external drive, and it's actually sitting right here, right next to me, and I loaded that up with Mountain Lion. So basically through my FireWire port, I have Mountain Lion, which I just basically plug in, reboot the computer, say I want that drive, and then call it up. And so I'm on Mountain Lion here, and I can stay online. And of course, what it does is, the cool thing about it is it actually records onto my main hard drive. So I then reboot the computer back into regular mode, and then I can pull the file, and I can do all the extra stuff I need to do to it before I put it up onto the interwebs. Of course, going live over at youtube.com/Geekazine. You can watch it right there, right then and there, without any additional need or whatever. So, but of course, then this gets processed and put up onto my website over at Geekazine.com, where you can check that all out. So Wirecast, I just found out the Wirecast 5.01 was updated. That's the new version, which is about $149. I don't have $149 to spend at this point in time. I still got to get my new iPad for iPad 365. I still got to replace my stolen. I'm come to the point where I need to get a new smartphone. My Windows phone just lost 2 more apps. It's still on Windows 7.8. It just lost 2 more apps to upgrades. And so my Windows phone is just not cutting it anymore. I need to get a smartphone for CES. And then, of course, I still need to get my plane ticket for CES. So far, I'm pretty much got $1,500 already invested in other things. A $150 upgrade to Wirecast is just not in the schedule. And that's a sad thing. So I'm going to try and figure out how I can do it, because I want to get some tutorials out to you, because there's another cool thing that's happening, and that is I am one of the official Help Out mentors. So you can go over to helpouts.com. In fact, let me call it up really quick. I didn't plan that. You go up to helpouts.google.com. We'll pull it up here. And then I've got 2 helpouts. Let me pull over to them. My listings, there we go. I've got 2 helpouts available. Help with Wirecast, and the other one is the Podcast Coach. And you can go to either one. If you need help with podcasts, you choose the Podcast Coach. If you need help with Wirecast, you choose help with Wirecast. I've already got a couple people that have called up and asked for help. So that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that, and I got to learn and meet some new podcasters, which is great. And so I'm working with their stuff. If you need help with Wirecast, if you got questions with Wirecast, let me know. Right now, I just talked to a couple people at Wirecast. They said that 5.01 is out, so that should be available for Mavericks. However, the 4.3.2 will not be out for a little while. And I said, you really want to help those people that are still on 4.3 because it's just a brand new update. Wirecast 5 is just an update, brand new update, and a lot of people will not go to 5 until they know all the bugs are worked out. And that means Wirecast 5.3 or 0.3. However, they can't use Wirecast right now. And I've got a few people, a few clients that have said, when is 4.3.2 coming out? I'm not ready to go up to 5.0. And so I told them, I said, you got to get that out as quick as possible. There's clients that are looking for new ways, new software. And we'll see what happens, but it's a little bit frustrating. But Wirecast is such a great versatile product. It's hard to what do you do? What do you do? So anyway, we talk about that. So just so you know, because it's running off of this FireWire drive, it's working a little bit differently, a little bit harder. So you might see the frame rate go up and down. So you might all of a sudden see me do some sort of Vogue type choppiness. Can't do much about that until we get the proper updates, or I find out a way to update to 5.0, which I'll end up doing eventually. It's just trying to find the budget, and hopefully with some things coming in, that budget will be satisfied where I'll be able to get everything into and go from there. So, all right, last night I'm going to show you some of the pictures. We're going to go through the slideshow really quick of what happened to me in Google Glass. I went to Techonomy last week, and I got to meet some really cool people. And lots of forward thinkers. We had a lot of fun at Techonomy, and just amazing. I heard Tony Hsieh from Zappos talk about what they're doing now, moving into Vegas and becoming more than just shoes. And it was just amazing. There's the pool side. Awesome pictures there. And this was a fireside chat. It had Ina Fried from All Things D. It had Stuart, I can't remember his last name. He's from the Homebrew Club. And there's some great food that we had there. Lots of cool stuff. And of course, it was 80 degrees in Tucson, Arizona. So no coat for me. I was kind of happy. That was from my hotel room. This was from the conference area, so it kind of looks similar. And this was the conference itself. So lots of fun. I was there. Todd Cochran was there. And, of course, we did a Ford drive. Drove the 2014 Ford Mustang. And, of course, I got that video up there. And that's Tim Ferriss from O'Reilly Media talking. That was the last session there. We got, that looks like Chuck Norris on the end, but that's not Chuck Norris on the end. So, and lots of other cool photos there. 14-year-old Jordan talked about Minecraft and using Minecraft, and going from there. Lots of cool, so lots of great pictures that you can see. If you just go over to my Google Plus page, you'll see even more pictures over there. So, you can check that out at plus.google.com/plus Jeffrey Powers, my main Google profile, plus Jeffrey Powers. So, all right, well, some other things that are happening. Twig, we talked. We had a lot of news. It was just basically a news episode. We talked mostly about XE11 coming out. We talked about a surgeon actually using glass during surgery, and then of course a company that's actually using some of the recognition software to basically do shopping. So you like some shoes, you take a picture of shoes, you can find out where you can buy those shoes, stuff like that. So I'm pretty excited about that, and of course some new apps, the prescription lenses, and we talk a little bit about how prescription lenses for glass might be a third-party thing, where you might be able to eventually go down to your lens crafters and get a pair of Google Glass prescription lenses. So pretty cool stuff. And then finally, hey, our crowdfund effort is really trying to take shape, but we still have a long way to go. I want you to take a look at our $25 level. And the $25 level is the t-shirt level. You get a t-shirt with contributing to our live broadcast coverage and being one of our partners over on TPN.TV for the CES action. We've got a long way to go for that $5,000 goal. And of course, basically $5,000 covers almost everybody's hotel, almost everybody's airfare. And that's the important thing. But this $25 t-shirt reward, there's two rewards right there. The $25 reward, you'll get a t-shirt, and the $40 reward, you can get 2 t-shirts. And of course, links on tpn.tv/backers. And it's pretty cool. We need to raise 5,000. If we can get past 5,000, that's great. But $5,000 is the number that we really need to get to. So at least we've got some of our staff, which mostly are volunteers. They're not going to get paid for it. So we just have to make sure that they get to Vegas and they've got places to stay. So that's what this is all about. So go over to fundanything.com. You can go to tpn.tv/crowdfund. tpn.tv/crowdfund, and you can find out more on that. All right. Anything else? Let's see what else. I talked about Tony Hsieh. I did. All the videos are up on youtube.com/Geekazine. So you can see the Ford Drive. You can see Tony Hsieh. And you can see this really cool video I did with Peter. And we talked, and his company, we talked about satellites and how the satellite is changing. It was his satellite that he was showing was the size of almost just a little bit bigger than a Rubik's Cube. It was amazing. And it's up there. Actually, there's I think about 100 up in space right now. And they're going to replace that big, bulky, 2-armed satellite, the billion-dollar satellites with these small satellites that literally just cost a fraction of what a regular satellite. And of course, you can add more to it. You can build a 3-box satellite. So he says about the size of a wine bottle. You could get that up in space. Great interview there. You can check that out. All right, well, other than that, check everything out over at Geekazine.com. Of course, Twitter handle is Geekazine, Facebook.com/Geekazine, and then, of course, plus.google.com/+Geekazine for that. All right, that does it for this part, the vlog, the VLOG section, and we're going to get you into the regular content. So what's going to happen is you're going to see this screen. And then when I come out of that screen, you are going to see the actual show, and we'll go hot and heavy into the show. So stick around. It's only going to be a couple seconds. We will be right back with the actual show. We're going to talk about Google+. We're going to talk about YouTube and their joining, what that means to you, what that means to trolls, and we can say goodbye to trolls. Bye-bye, trolls. Bye-bye, trolls. We'll be right back. This is Geek Smack, episode 282.
This is the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, welcome to another episode of Geek Smack, episode number 282, where we smack the geek out of you like Google's smacking the geek out of trolls. They're saying goodbye to trolls on YouTube. Bye-bye, troll. Little guy, go bye-bye. Why? Well, they just added some new features that some YouTubers don't like and some YouTubers do like, and one of them is to actually integrate Google Plus with YouTube a lot more. And I'm finding the problems as well as the advantages of actually putting them both together, because that's what I've done. We've also got a lot of great news. We're going to be talking about Microsoft. We're going to talk about how they make fake poop. That's kind of interesting. And then, of course, we're going to talk about some other great stuff like Google Maps blocking abusive messages. The Python is back, and a whole bunch more. Yeah, the Python is back. This is Geek Smack, episode number 282. Thanks for joining me live or recorded, and let's get it started. Let's get the Geek Smack out right now. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, thanks a lot for coming to Geeksmack. If this is the first time that you've shown up to one of my shows, thank you very much for showing up to one of my shows. I do this every single Tuesday for Wednesday consumption or late Tuesday consumption, whichever you do it. You can watch it on your computers. You can watch it on maybe on your Google Glass. I don't know. Possibly. If you got the right app, you can. You can watch it on your TVs at home. Sit on the couch, have some popcorn, watch me talk about news and tech and all that other cool stuff. Happening every single week. We didn't have a show last week because I was in Tucson, Arizona. Really quick, if you want the full version of this vlog, I'm going to shorten it up here. If you want the full version, go over to youtube.com/Geekazine. Think magazine, put in a geek. You got Geekazine. YouTube.com/Geekazine. And then, of course, you can find out the long extended version. You get to see pictures and some cool stuff. And I get to do a dance around a fire, stuff like that. You know, stuff you don't see on the show. But really quick, what's been happening over at Geekazine? I'm now an official help out partner. You can find out, you can get help from me for podcasting. You can get help from me for Wirecast and using Wirecast. Speaking of which, Wirecast is updated to 5.0.1. But their older version, 4.3.1, still stays at that. Now, if you have a Mac and you've updated to Mavericks, you know that there's a problem with that. So you want, I talked to a few people and they said, well, we're going to take a while to get the 4.3.2 out, which is kind of sad. And I said, you know, you just put out 5.0 and nobody wants to go up to 5.0 until a couple of releases have come out. You can't force them like that. And I need Mavericks on my machine. You need to update. So we'll see what happens. We'll go from there. Last night we had a great This Week in Google Glass. Me and Luke just talked about the news. We talked about all the cool stuff that happened. Surgeon wore glass for the first time in the operating theater. We also talked about a company that's it's doing augmented reality in a different way. You know, take a picture of shoes and you can find out where you can buy the shoes type thing. And then, of course, we're also talking about today. They started with the GDK. I don't know if there's an official GDK for Google Glass coming out just yet, but that's all we talk about on This Week in Google Glass. Techonomy last week, like I said, great show. Got to see a lot of cool video, including Tony Hsieh up on stage talking about Zappos and how they're more than a shoe company. Speaking of shoes, of course, how they're more than a shoe company. They moved into Las Vegas, and we're gonna do some more deep delve into Zappos. I did a video a few years back of Zappos then, so I'm gonna see Zappos then and Zappos now, and I'm really excited about that. Anything else happening? Of course, TPN.TV, our crowdfund effort is happening. We've got 30 days to go, and we're not even close to our $5,000 goal. T-shirts make great gifts. $25 you can get one T-shirt. For $40 you can get two T-shirts. And you've just basically done some Christmas shopping or holiday shopping for two people. Help us be partners on the live broadcast of CES with TPN.TV, and you can find that over at TPN.TV/crowdfund. Of course, I have all the links in the show notes. You just have to go to the show notes to do that and go from there. All right, let's get going into this week. Let's get into your Tech Smack for this week. And this week we're brought to you by our friends over at Carbonite.com. You know, online you could have hard drive, and I have hard drives here where I backed up stuff on hard drives. And I want to find something, and it's like, you know, I'm trying to find something, and I can't find it because it's on one of 15 different hard drives. And of course, the next hard drive is a little bit bigger, and the next hard drive is a little bit bigger. So you go through that 100 gig hard drive. No, you can't find it. 500 gig hard drive. No, can't find it. 1 terabyte hard drive. Can't find it. 3 terabyte. Oh, there it is. Finally. When you want a good place to have all your backup files and have it off-site. And that's the best part. The coolest thing about technology, we have fast internet connections, and we have the ability to take our files off-site as quick as possible. And that's what Carbonite's all about. You want to keep your documents there a year from now when your computer crashes, when you have a fire or a flood or anything like that. It doesn't happen, and your data doesn't get destroyed at the home, and you have a way to pull it back. So you get a brand new computer. after whatever happens to your old computer, and you want to pull those files back, all you have to do is log back into Carbonite and download all those files. Great way to back up. Check it out. We've got a great special, a 15-day free trial over at Geekazine.com. Go to Geekazine.com/Carbonite, Geekazine.com/Carbonite, and then sign up for a 15-day free trial of Carbonite.com. That was, did I say Geekazine.com/Carbonite? I meant Geekazine.com/Carbon. It was a carbon trial. Yeah, I think that's what it was, carbon trial. And the reason why I did that, if you go to Carbonite, you'll actually get the business end of Carbonite, and you'll see the savings there. But you can always just go to Carbonite.com from there and get the 15-day free trial. I think it's Carbon Trial. Carbon Trial. That's what I called it. So check it out over there, and thanks to Carbonite for being a sponsor of the show. All right, let's get into your tech news for today. We're going to start over at, let me cue it up here really quick. We're going to start over at time.com, swampland.time.com. And of course, we've all been listening. We've all been hearing about the White House Obama problem, the healthcare.gov problems with Obamacare. And I'm on the fence. I don't, I don't talk politics on the show. And there's a reason why, and that's because, that I talk tech, I don't talk politics. So, but the healthcare.gov website, of course, has been down for weeks now, and there was some clamor saying, this could have been completely avoided because these were companies that actually have launched some other stuff and had the same problems come up. And I don't know why they went with these companies, don't know why they didn't fix their problems. But apparently the administration was warned or told that there were going to be problems with healthcare.gov, and they didn't heed the warnings. So McKinsey & Company, a management consulting firm, prepared a report in March for the Department of Health and Human Services. They told them that there were critical issues in threatening of healthcare's rollout tight timeline. And that's New York Times reported all that, and of course Time has a little bit more on that. So they knew that this was going to be, and the funny thing is, we're very concerned about healthcare because there's a lot of people are losing their healthcare because of Obamacare, because of healthcare.gov, because they can't match what the rules are. And me, as an independent person, I now have to either pay $40 a month or $20, whatever the price is, or be penalized. And I don't know. And like I said, I'm not going to get into the politics of the thing, but when somebody sits there and says that website is going to go down within the first 15 seconds of being up, you might want to listen to them, because we've done this before. We've seen high traffic websites before. We know what the problems are. We know how to fix them. And this was an easy fix. It would have cost some more money, but healthcare.gov wouldn't have had the problems that it did. So it's kind of sad basically for the companies that actually put it together, because one, it happened to them before, and two, they didn't know how to fix it the first time. So shame on you, shame on me. That is not good. If you want to read more on that, we got it over at Time. But of course, all the show notes at Geekazine. And tell me what you think. Are you for or against this whole healthcare.gov thing? Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com. And then the hotline, 608-205-4378. We got a couple articles from bbc.co.uk. First of all, Google and Microsoft are on a joint venture. And this joint venture is to make sure that people like these guys don't get online and don't start stalking. Now, this is Mark Bridger and Stuart Hazel, and we'll talk about them in a second. But Google and Microsoft agreed for measures to make it harder for child abuse images to come online. Now, this guy, of course, July, Cameron called, it was like David Cameron, that's the name, called on Google and Microsoft's Bing to do more than prevent people getting access to illegal images. Now, once again, we had Hazel and Bridger, the picture that you saw there, were known to have sought out and viewed child abuse images online. We don't need child abuse images online. Simple. We don't need, half the time your children's pictures, you should have basic pictures of your kids. Maybe some funny little video or something like that, but that's it. Don't put your child's life online just completely yet. And especially if they're in areas that kind of show patterns, like taking a picture of the kid outside every single Saturday at 2:00, somebody can look at that and say, okay, at 2:00, that child is outside. Things like that. So, interesting stuff. And of course, we won't get in the whole, you're a parent. I'm not a parent. And so your children, keep your children safe. That's simple as that. So if you want to read more on this, go over to the bbc.co.uk. Once again, we'll have the links in the show notes, and you can go from there. Going on from there, pretty sad information here. You might have heard about this. There was a murder that happened in Richmond, California. And apparently at the time, Google was taking overhead satellite images of that area. And because of that, they actually got a picture of the cops around a specific area of Richmond, California, with the kid. The teen was already in the body bag and getting ready to be transported out. But that picture showed up on Google Maps. Well, the father is a little bit upset because of it, rightfully so. He wants Google to retake the pictures and clean it out. Now, since then, I guess Google has blurred out that area, so you'll get a blurred image of it if you look at it. If you do get that I think it was 2009 image, and of course, Google says it's going to take a little while to get to an updated image because I think the satellite has to move over or something like that. But they could do something easier and just kind of take down that area and say this image will be available soon. Just because, you don't need to see anything like that. And most people are going to that map just to see if they can see the picture. And that's kind of sad. And it makes perfect sense. The father, Jose Barrera, had asked to remove the image that shows the police car and these officers surrounding the body. So if you want to read more on that, once again, bbc.co.uk. We've got the link in the show notes. What do you think? Should it be, because they just basically said, hey, we'll do it, but it's going to take a little bit of time to do it. Do you think that they need to kind of be able to satisfy people's needs a little bit quicker than that? Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. All right, let's move on from there. I got this email right before I started the show. Friend of mine, actually some friends up in north of me in Superior, Wisconsin, that I've helped them with some other stuff. They started a new Kickstarter, and I was really excited about this. I don't normally talk about Kickstarters because they almost get done, and then that news passes. But check this out. This is called Facetto. I think that's how you pronounce it. F-A-S-E-T-T-O. And basically what it is, it's the ability to share multimedia, the pictures, audio files, videos, and stuff like that from phone to phone, but you do not need a SIM card. You do not need Wi-Fi. You do not need Bluetooth, and you do not need NFC. And it works on a Windows phone. It works on an iOS device. It works on an Android device. And they use a thing they're calling it PDQ, I believe it is. And the idea is that if you're in an area where you have absolutely no signal, and you take a picture and you want to send it over to somebody else's phone, you can do that. Yeah, the trademark PDQ is a technology that lets you talk between all three devices. So it's kind of like an AirDrop for iOS device, except it doesn't matter what platform you're on. Now, they only have 11 days left on this Kickstarter. They got 100 backers, and they've got about 1/3 of what they need to get. So go over there on Kickstarter, $2 or more, and you can get the standard package. And of course, you'll get the PDQ app at $5. So that's actually a pretty good thing right there. And of course, I'm a big fan of that. I like that a lot. So check that all out. Let me know if you get it. Twitter me over at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com, and we'll talk about it a little bit more there. All right. Excitement in the Python geek world as the group from Monty Python, this is over on Gawker, the group from Monty Python says, we are going to reunite for the first time since the 80s. Now, they did one thing in the 80s where one of them tripped over Graham's ashes, and it was just a kind of a little interview thing, which was okay. But they are getting back together to do some skits and have some fun. Hopefully some new stuff, but we'll see what happens here. There's no launch date, but they're going to try it out and see what happens, and maybe they'll make a couple movies out of it, and we'll see what happens from there. Do they still have the magic? That's the real question. So we'll see what happens. They got more. They're going to be keeping tight-lipped for now. They're going to get more information. We're going to get it on Thursday on Sky News. That's what Eric Idle tweeted. So you can check that all out on Gawker.com. All right, moving from there, the register.co.uk. Dropbox has been making some advancements. In fact, in the mail today, I got an email that said, if you sign up for our mailbox option, we're going to give you another gig worth of space, which is cool. I mean, you get a free account, you get 2 gigs worth of space, and on a regular account, you can get 20 or 100 gigs. And I use my my Dropbox for a lot of transferring of files and sending files to other people, which is really cool. So they basically have they say they're worth $8 billion. And they want to get a whole bunch of new funding. So they're looking for about $250 million in new funding as they're buying new companies and doing new things for Dropbox. Of course, we had some issues a few months ago with companies like this and of course Mega Upload souring that whole process. But a company like Dropbox, I expect to be on the up and up. So if it sees some sort of peer-to-peer file trading of movies and stuff like that, then they'll take care of it. So I use Dropbox. I use it on my machines. In fact, I do have a promo code. If you go over to my Twitter, you'll find the promo code, the link to get to Dropbox if you want to go through there. And then, of course, that helps me. That helps me by giving me an extra gig worth of space. And then I get to that for a year. So right now, I think I'm at like 4 gigs worth of space, which helps me a lot, especially when I have to transfer video from one computer to the other. I don't have to find a USB drive or anything like that anymore. I just have to let the internet do all the work, and that's pretty cool there. So if you want to read more on that, go over to the register.co.uk. All right, finally, this is actually really cool. Gizmodo.com is talking about the world's tallest water slide. Now, the previous world's tallest water slide was I believe it was in Belgium. This one kind of overshadows it. It's going to give you a drop of 60 miles an hour for a few seconds before it catches you. Now, of course, you're in like a little boat or something like that, and that fits up to 4 people. So when you go over that edge, you're falling with 3 other people for a little while. And I'm looking at it, and I'm just thinking to myself, gosh, that's just crazy, because it actually, from what it sounds like, it actually separates from the ramp a little bit as you're falling. So there's like space in between. And of course, it'll catch you as you go back up. But it drops people from nearly 140 feet up. It's going to be ready in spring of 2014. And it's going to beat out this it's Brazil's Insano, 134.5 feet, with riders hitting speeds of 62.5 miles per hour. The name of the ride's called Mega Blaster. It's going to be in Kansas City, and like I said, it's not ready yet. It'll be ready in spring of 2004. But I don't know. Will you ride it? The biggest problem is there's 264 steps that lead up to that ride, which means you have to climb 22 flights of stairs, about 12 steps a flight, before you can ride it. So you get some exercise in doing this. There'll probably be an elevator, I would guess, some sort of other way to get up there. But would you climb 22 flights of stairs just to take a ride like that? Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com. And then, of course, the hotline is 608-205-4378. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, that does it for the first part of Geek Smack. We're going to get you into the second part of Geek Smack, and then we're going to talk about YouTube and Google Plus coming together. Is it good? Is it bad? The trolls don't like it, but that's okay. Who cares about them anyway? I'm probably going to get a lot of trolls now. Uh-oh. We'll be right back. This is Geek Smack. All right, this part of Geek Smack is brought to you by How to Record Podcast over at www.howtorecordpodcasts.com. One of my properties, websites that you can go to and find out how to create your own podcast, how to create your own video cast, and a whole bunch more. That's over at howtorecordpodcasts.com. The best part about this, I talked about it at the beginning, I'm also available over on Video Helpouts. And you just click on that button right there, and that'll take you to it. You can get me as a podcast coach. I also have a one that just got approved yesterday as the Wirecast coach. So if you have questions for your Wirecast, and doing like this video that I'm doing right here, questions like how do I set up lower thirds? How do I set up other things? Hold on, I got to pop up here. Okay, you can check that over at How to Record Podcasts, and then sign up as for some coach time so you can get your podcast going, because I want to help you get your podcasts going. That's over at howtorecordpodcasts.com. All right, we got, I don't know if you can hear that, but somebody's revving some engines in the background, so get it going. Get your motor running. Chicka, chicka, chicka. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's get your Geekedia of the week. This week, it's Jobs. Steve Jobs. Actually, it was really funny. I just talked about Steve Jobs. There was an article. I'm from Madison, Wisconsin, of course. So there was an article, 29 reasons why you should love Wisconsin. And I'm going to tell you something that you might not know about Steve Jobs in Wisconsin. And that was Steve Jobs' parents, biological parents, were from Wisconsin. They basically conceived Steve Jobs in Wisconsin. So that was one of the things they didn't talk about, but I kind of added into the comments section. They talk about beer. They talk about the dairy state. They talk about a lot of other things, a lot of other great reasons why to be a part of Wisconsin. And I agree with a lot of them. Some of them were, okay, whatever. Lots of great actors came from Wisconsin, just like any other state, if you think about it. But pretty cool stuff. But anyway, Steve Jobs, of course, the movie came out with Ashton Kutcher. And now the video is going to be coming out at the end of November 26th. You can pre-order it now over at Amazon.com. And, of course, if you go over to the link over at Geekazine.com, you go over where it says Geekedia, and then underneath you'll see the link for Jobs. Click on that. Of course, that helps me keep my lights on. Thank you very, very much for that. The price is normally $29.98. They drop it to $19.86. And of course, if you're a Prime member, you'll be able to get that two-day shipping off of that. Lots of cool reasons to get the video over at Amazon.com. If you want to go anywhere else, just click on the link and then just start searching. Of course, it'll help. It'll then credit me, and it'll be great. And I thank you very much for helping Geekazine keep Geek Smack going. All right, let's move on from there. Let's go over to, sorry about that. Let's go over to, it's called fastcoexist.com. Now, okay, so you're building the toilet of the future. What do you use to test the toilet of the future? Now, you remember, I don't know if you watch Big Bang Theory. You remember when Howard Wolowitz was making the space toilet? They used his mom's brisket as the test subject. So what do? You make fake poop. And that's what they're doing here over on fastcoexist.com. Picture here of Bill Gates. Yeah, it's Bill Gates. And he's watching as this guy takes a piece of what's called fake poop, They must have a real name for it, but it's fake poop, and he's dropping it into a toilet and showing off the design. Now, the fake poop is made of soybean and rice, and they can shape it in many different ways because they tested, and basically they found that the average male expels 250 grams according to a 1978 medical survey, and they need toilets that be able to flush in a single flush and get rid of all that waste. The average nowadays is about 650 grams. So they want to be able to, if you have 650 grams in a toilet, they want to be able to have it flush without anything sticking behind for a second flush. And you don't want that second flush. Just that's just, I mean, you get a sense of pride. It's like, yeah, I got that second flush going. But on the other hand, it's like, no, I want to do it in the first flush. I remember the days where you had to hold down the little lever, so it would do like a secondary flush within the flush to really get in here. But anyway, we're talking toilet stuff here, and we're talking about fake fecal matter. Fake poop. And there it is. They got different rolled sizes. They look like a bunch of Tootsie Rolls or bean burritos or something like that. I don't know. But this is their test subject, and of course it's all reusable, so they can create more and put it back in and go from there. So if you want to read more on the fake poop, that's over at Fast Coexist. Once again, we'll have the link in the show notes. Just go over to geekazine.com and you'll see the link for it, and you can check it out there. Let's move on from there. Freedom Pop. We talked about Freedom Pop in the past. Freedom Pop has the ability, you get a phone for like under $100. And of course, it's not a brand new phone. It's a refurbished phone. You get the phone, and then, of course, you get a free service. And then after you go over so many minutes or so much data plans, you start paying. Well, Freedom Pop launched a new phone service with Sprint phones. So you can get the completely free service running on the Sprint network, 500 megabytes of data, 500 texts, and 200 voice minutes, free every single month. Now, this is cool because I have this LG phone. I'm hoping that I'll be able to use that with that service, because it'd be nice to actually have that on a line instead of just use it like a tablet or my own little Android tablet. So, and of course, you can get older models like the Samsung Galaxy 2. The CEO of Freedom Pop said. So, free service and some cool stuff that you can get with your Freedom Pop there. Of course, you can also get the Evo 4G, the HTC Evo 4G, which is a nice phone in itself as well. So if you need to get a phone, Freedom Pop, check it all out. See if what Sprint's doing for deals, and then go from there. That link is over at pcmag.com if you want to read more. All right. We've talked about Arrow before. And Arrow's that online company that's trying to get the over-the-air channels like your ABCs and your CBSs and your NBCs online. So all you have to do is run it through an internet connection. And the perfect thing about it is, when, let's say you've got a rainstorm or you're just kind of on an outlying area of a tower, in a digital signal, it's really hard to actually just watch TV. So Arrow came along and said, yeah, we'll hook up to your internet. You just go to a page, and you'll be able to go to your NBC affiliate, your ABC affiliate, and watch the TV without that distortion. Well, Major League Baseball, National Football League don't like that. So what they're doing is they're saying, hey, we're going to talk, and we're going to start to we're going to find ways to boycott Arrow. If Arrow comes in your area, we don't want our sports stuff to show up there. Now, there's got to be a reason why. I'm guessing there's extra ads. Arrow has to make some money somewhere, so there's got to be some ads, and I think that they want to get some of the cash there. So they're not giving away a service technically for free. But the MLB and the NFL have jointly filed a brief supporting the existing court case, arguing that streaming TV services jeopardizes the licensing deals. And so basically, if it goes through and Arrow continues to play, whenever there's going to be a some sports game or something like that, it'll either be blacked out, or you'll probably get another movie or TV show or something like that. But I don't know. I'm over-the-air TV is needed, but it'd be cooler if I could get over-the-air TV and just get it on my streaming device. So I don't pay for cable, but I do pay for internet. Why doesn't and I use the cable company for internet? Why doesn't the cable company use something like Arrow to just kind of brand it so you can watch TV and you don't have to deal with those signals and the distortions that you get because your antenna isn't strong enough or you're not close enough to a tower to get that. So I don't know. There's pros and cons on both sides, and I see both of them. So we'll keep you informed of what's going on there. And in the meantime, check out Engadget.com for that information. All right, what else have we got here? I didn't load up the rest of the stuff here. Sorry about that. Let's get the rest of this loaded up. Let's move on from there. Let's go over to onbitcoin.com. There we are. I'm baffled on virtual currency. I really am. There's a lot of it's really cool to actually see virtual currency start to come to life with Bitcoin and stuff like that. But there's a lot of legal issues that also come with that, and that's what we're talking about here. The Senate is putting a committee together to listen about Bitcoin and virtual currency. And they're listening to, now get this, they're listening to Bitcoin experts. What makes you a Bitcoin expert? Are you like a millionaire in the Bitcoin world or whatnot? So, I don't know. Today, they had a select group of U.S. officials and experts convening in Washington to discuss current challenges facing the law enforcement of virtual currencies and a U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs in a hearing called Beyond Silk Road, Potential Risks, Threats, and Promises of Virtual Currencies. So it's a big issue because you don't know, if we end up turning virtual currency into regular currency, what could keep a hacker from all of a sudden making $1 million? And it's pretty interesting. I don't get into Bitcoin. Maybe I should get into some Bitcoin stuff. Maybe I will become a millionaire in the Bitcoin world. I'm a millionaire on Empire Avenue, so I could be a millionaire in Bitcoin. Possible. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you have a Bitcoin account? Do you make money off of Bitcoin? Does it work for you? Let me know what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Twitter me over at Geekazine, of course, geekazine@gmail.com. And then the hotline is 608-205-4378. All right, let's move on from there. Fox News. What does the Fox News say? Well, they say that Yahoo is expanding security measures. They're encrypting all their personal data by the end of March. So this is about 6 months from now. All of your data will actually be behind an encryption wall, an SSL certificate. So instead of going to http://yahoo, mail.yahoo.com, you go to https://mail.yahoo.com or documents or whatnot. So it's a great step forward for Yahoo to get into a more secure area, encrypting all communications and other flowing into the data centers around the world, so somebody doesn't try and pull information that they don't need. So Marissa Mayer followed a recent Washington Post report that the National Security Agency had been hacking into communication lines on the data centers run by Yahoo and Google to intercept what people do and say online. So that's the reason why they decided to do that. Google began doing encryption in 2010. So Yahoo is now getting out with the game, and it's probably a great idea. So you can be a little bit more secure if you use Yahoo's business services, because in all reality, Yahoo is pretty much down to their business services. If they lose the business end of things, they're done. And Marissa Mayer, she knows that. She's trying to build back the consumer base again, but it's really all about the business. So if you want to read more on that, foxnews.com. What does the Fox News say? Speaking of which, Gawker.com has a very interesting article on this guy. His name is Jack Vale, and he's doing what's called the social media experiment. I've seen a couple of these videos. I'm never a fan of these videos because you never know what happens, and some of them can be some of them are eye opening. Some of them can kind of be like the jackass-ish type stuff out there. So anyway, what Jack Vale does is he basically uses an app to find out who's around him, and then he looks at their profiles, just kind of looks at pictures and anything that's open, and then he sees them out on the street, and then he'll come up to them and he'll call them by name, and then he'll say, hey, how was that dog that you just had? I saw that you had a really cool plate of some really fancy dinner last night with chicken and asparagus. That looked pretty yummy. And he just starts spouting off some names. I'm sorry to hear about your dad and the hospital, or happy birthday or something like that. And these people are just standing there, just freaked out. In fact, there was one table, the faces were all blocked out, and they basically said, "You come back, I'm gonna kick your bleep." So it's a very interesting, eye-opening experiment. Now, I keep everything as open as possible. I don't have that much personal information. The only thing that I kind of control is my Facebook page. I mean, it is open to the public, but there are, if I share stuff with friends only and family only sometimes, so you don't see it. But for the most part, I want you to know who I am, so you can come up and talk to me and say, hey, I'm starting a podcast. I want to learn more about it. I want you to help me, or let's get together and talk about this or that or the other thing in technology. Let's talk about Google Glass. So I'm a very open book when it comes to that. But some of you don't want it. Some of you have got stalkers. Some of you have got other situations where you just don't want other people reading what you do. Understandable. So he's showing us that sometimes an open network could be dangerous as well as helpful. And in fact, there's been a couple times that I've seen some social networks where I've noticed that somebody's around, and then I'll try and find them and catch up with them. So that's pretty cool for me. But once again, it can be kind of stalkerish too. So if you want to read more on that, go over to Gawker.com. Very interesting stuff there. I'm looking down, and I completely forgot to do this during the opening part. And I keep saying, I'm going to do this, I got to do this, and I did that last time. Of course, I was at Techonomy, and there's the badge right now. I just want to put this into the Hall of Badges really quick. So let me do this really quick. Of course, I've got all my badges right here of any show I go to, CES, South by Southwest, NAB, all of it's right here, and we're going to add Techonomy to the list. So let's do that right now. All right. It's added to the Hall of Badges. Awesome stuff there. Anyway, lots of shows, lots of places I've been to. That's pretty cool. So let's move on from there. We're going to go over to theverge.com. You remember how we talked about those barges? This might be one of the reasons why those barges exist. Google's opened up what's called the Winter Wonder Lab, and basically it's just a it's a removable tent. And inside you can find out about Google Glass. Inside you can find about the Chromecast, about the Nexus 4, or I'm sorry, Nexus 5, Nexus 7, and all that other cool stuff that you can buy from Google and go from there. Shops called Winter Wonder Labs are in 6 cities: New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Sacramento, Washington, and Paramus. There's people in New Jersey that are hating me right now. Paramus, something like that. It's in New Jersey. So if you're in that area, there's one in Chicago. Maybe I'll stop down in Chicago and take a look at that. And there might be, I don't know if they're going to expand at all to other places, but right now, those are the 6 cities. Will there be one in Austin, Texas, come South by Southwest? Will there be one at CES? I'm wondering, and I'm hoping that there will be, because these look like pretty movable objects. And of course, you can check out all the cool goodness of Google. And the Winter Wonder Lab, which it probably won't be called the Winter Wonder Lab when it comes to springtime. It'll probably be called the Spring Lab or something like that. I don't know. If you want to read more on that, go over to theverge.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, that does it for the Geek Smack section. We are going to talk about YouTube. We're going to talk about Google. They're coming together. Trolls don't like it. I kind of like it, but there's things I don't like about it too. And we're going to talk about that next. You are watching Geek Smack, episode number 282. We'll be right back. You know, it's more than just 750 channels that the Roku can offer that gives you all that content. Each channel can have sub-channels in it, so you can have tens of thousands of hours of video watching and game playing out of your Roku. And prices only start at $49.99. Of course, the Roku 3 for $99.99, and of course you can get the games, you get the game remote as well, and then the privacy mode where you can plug in your headphones right in the remote. That's perfect for when your partner is sleeping, but you want to watch something on TV. Lots of great stuff from Angry Birds to Amazon to Hulu, and of course the Tech Podcast channel. Let me show you this really quick. This is how you get to some of the content from Geekazine on the Tech Podcast channel. You just go into the Tech Podcast video, and you're going to go into Tech News, and you're going to find like the special events, iPad 365, Geek Smack, and a whole bunch more. A lot of other tech podcast shows right on that Roku for you, right at your fingertips, right through the remote. And then, of course, you can get your Netflix, you can get your Amazon, you can get your Hulu just as easy, and many more channels. PBS, we've got Redbox Instant, TV Guide, Sci-Fi Channel, and much more. Check it out. It's all over at Roku. Remember, geekazine.com/Roku. Of course, that helps me keep the lights on for all my shows. Thank you very much. And go over where streaming is made simple. Last night I moved This Week in Google Glass to its own YouTube channel. It's part of the new YouTube integration into Google+, something that has YouTubers actually complaining. While I'm adapting, I still have a little bit of frustrations over how YouTube is handling this whole thing. I really hope, as being an early adopter, it'll bring me more success in the end. Now, when I started Geekazine's YouTube, I was basically told, you create one channel. You put all your shows on that one channel. You don't create separate channels. I had 2 or 3 shows, which like I said, I wanted to put them on their own channels, but I wanted to stick with that premise. So one channel to rule them all is what I did. It got thrown out of the window after YouTube started integrating everything with Google+, though. At first, I basically declined their forceful tactics by YouTube to merge, mostly because I didn't want Geekazine YouTube channel to be associated with my personal G+ account. About 2 months ago, Google changed it so I could connect the Geekazine page, which I was willing to do so because it lined up with my business models. From there, my YouTube downward spiral began. My main G+ channel didn't have a YouTube connection, so I made another YouTube channel. I was perfectly fine with that. I could put all my Through Glass stuff and anything that just didn't work with Geekazine right there. Fun stuff. I started thinking about other pages I had on YouTube. I'm a big proponent of getting brand names for what I start. Like, for instance, I have the Day in Tech History, which is a tech history podcast. If I ever wanted to put it on YouTube, I want to have youtube.com/Day in Tech History. So I have to think about actually making these channels, even if I'm not using them. And with Geekazine, that was easy because, Geekazine I created Geekazine, the name Geekazine, and so not too many people would have Geekazine for a name. But with other brands like iPad 365, not so much. It had me scrambling for a name, to look for names that don't end in 4315. iPad 365 4315 or 2213 or anything like that. And like I said, iPad 365 is already becoming a challenge to find the right YouTube name. YouTube also brought other issues into the fold. You can only comment from your real name and from your G+ account. Some find that frustrating. I'm very happy with that change. It keeps the trolls out, especially those who dislike your content simply because they have similar videos on the network and they want theirs to be boosted over yours. My problems are that when I start a new channel, I start pretty much from scratch. Sure, I'm a YouTube partner and I can set up my monetization and my other stuff, but I can't bring those followers, those subscribers that I did on youtube.com/Geekazine to the new channel. I have to start from zero once again. Worst yet, I can't transfer the videos that I've done. I created, iPad 365 has got its YouTube channel, Day in Tech History, This Week in Google Glass. I can't really transfer those videos that I've done and have over at youtube.com/Geekazine to youtube.com/ I think it's called This Week in Glass is what I ended up with. I even have to go into my email settings again and say, hey, don't send me all those emails about who's joining me in comments and stuff like that. And then, of course, there are some emails that you have to uncheck at Google+, and then you have to uncheck over at YouTube, which even gets more confusing. Now, since the joining of YouTube with Google+, my numbers have actually increased on both sides. That makes me happy. The more subscribers I have on Google+ and YouTube, the better chance that my channel goes over and I get more video views by different people. However, starting from scratch might take some fans to the point where they believe that you're not creating any content anymore and they stop watching your channel. It's going to take some new strategy for me to figure out what I'm going to do, especially as a content provider, to use YouTube. But in the end, I believe I'm going to get a lot more views from it. What do you guys think? Especially you YouTubers out there, what do you think about this new model? Do you like it? Do you like the integration? The fact that there's going to be limited trolls on there is going to be great, and everybody's going to have a first name, as opposed to the Mighty God 74, because you end up reporting the Mighty God 74, and then you're pretty much done, and that comment is pretty much wiped from existence. So let me know what you think. Twitter me over at Geekazine. Do you think that'll actually keep people from commenting on your stuff? Geekazine@gmail.com. And, of course, the hotline is 608-205-4378. You can also comment over on plus.google.com/Jeffrey Powers. All right, well, that does it for this episode of Geek Smack. What did you like it? What did you not like it? What about the animals? What are they going to be made out of? Anyway, my name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching. You can catch me anywhere. I've already told you where you can catch me, so just go there and check out all the videos. Check out the Ford video I just did. Of course, that satellite, awesome stuff. And then, of course, Tony Shea and his comments on helping the new people, the new age of business. I like it. It's pretty cool stuff. So. All right, you guys have a great one. We will see you next week when it will be another episode of Geek Smack. I don't have travel right now, so we've got a few episodes before the holiday season. Of course, we're going to be taking a small break come the Christmas, New Year's, and then, of course, CES happens. Remember, go over to tpn.tv/crowdfund to help us with our crowdfunding efforts so we can get people to CES so we can cover the big show and all the products that come out of it. So until next time, you guys geek out and take care.
This is the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here.
All right, so that was the big show. Thank you guys very much for being part of it over on youtube.com/Geekazine. The live version, we had a few people watch, so thank you very much. A couple people are still watching. And let's see if there's any comments. I haven't checked that, so I'm just going to pop over here really quick. Excuse me. And, of course, if I do live shows and you want to leave a comment, just feel free to leave a comment over on youtube.com/Geekazine, and I'll watch for it a little bit more in the weeks to come. So it looks like we got no comments, no questions, or anything like that. So perfect as well. You guys have a great one. We'll see you next week, next Tuesday, same time, same channel, same everything like that. And we'll have some great news for you as well. You guys geek out and take care.